to use long routes.
Kulima majani chai kwa maana magari zetu haziwezagi kufika mahali zinafaa kuchukua majani chai kama inavyotakikana, na jambo hili linafanya hata magari yetu iharibike. Kwa hivyo tunachukua pesa mingi kununua spare parts za magari zetu, na ile jambo linafanya gharama ya majani chai ya factory zetu iende juu sana.
The Architectural Association of Kenya is calling on the government to honor its pledge to compensate and relocate residents whose structures are being brought down on grounds that they have been built on riparian land. Speaking in Mihango area, Nairobi County, the association's chairperson Florence Nyole further advised Kenyans to seek professional advice before putting up structures. The association is currently conducting a sensitization clinic dubbed J Unam Jengo, which seeks to enlighten developers on the regulations to be adhered to when undertaking such projects.
Wamejenga nyumba pale, wakati wa kubomoa pia tufanye kwamba ubomolezi wa manyumba hayo ifanywe kwa njia inayofaa, sio kuwafurusha watu tu na kuacha wakiwa mahame kwa muda mchache tu, na wengine wao wamezaliwa na wameishi katika eneo hilo.
And now on business news, Family Bank has reported 910 million shillings in net profit during the first 3 months of this year, driven by increased interest income. The profit, which represents a 24.3% year-on-year growth, would have been higher were it not for increased loan loss provision to 209 million shillings.
During the first 3 months of this year, Family Bank increased loans and advances to customers from 83.8 billion shillings to 87.4 billion shillings. These earned the lender 3.3 billion shillings in interest income on loans and advances, up from 2.6 billion shillings the lender earned during a similar period in 2023. The increased lending, however, came at a cost as the stock of non-performing loans increased from 13.3 billion shillings to 13.9 billion. This pushed the lender to increase the loan loss provisioning 28.8% to 209 million shillings. In addition, staff costs increased from 874 million shillings to 987 million, which pushed up the total operating expenses to 2.44 billion shillings, up from 1.99 billion. The lender earned 1.1 billion shillings in interest income from investment in government securities, which, in addition to interest income on loans and advances, pushed up total interest income by 19.9% to 2.4 billion shillings. After reporting the 910 million shillings, Family Bank says earnings per share increased from 57 cents per share a year ago to 71 cents per share. Frederick Mwoki for Lunchtime News.
And now we cross over to KICC, where the Africa Development Bank Summit is currently underway, and we shall be linking with our reporter Nduta Mukami for a comprehensive update. Nduta, if you can hear me, kindly bring us to speed on the developments this Tuesday.
And a very good afternoon to you, Jackie Wambiru. This is day 2 of the African Development Bank Summit and its annual general meetings. Remember, the theme of this summit is restructuring the financial architecture of the African continent. And why is this important? This is important because for Africa's continent to continue developing socially, economically, and within all its scopes, it is important for there to be a paradigm shift with regards to do with our financial architecture systems. And now I am joined by Rogers, Rogers Githenji, who is an advocate of the High Court rather, and he also has an expertise on international finance law and regulations. Welcome to the set. This is KBC Channel 1, Rogers, and maybe if you can just begin by giving us a brief summary of what has been happening here. What has been your take home since the summit began?
So I've been attending the summit from the very beginning. I came as an observer and as a person who wants to really understand the developmental issues that are affecting our continent. And from the beginning, yesterday I attended an event on skills development, and we know that most of the challenges we are facing on the African continent is lack of opportunities for the young generation. It was a very insightful program I attended, and there are several side events cutting across, and I'm really looking forward to learning as much as I can.
Remember, since the summit focus is restructuring the architecture of the African continent, we've seen the African Development Bank be a key partner with Kenya with regards to financing some of its projects, infrastructure projects. Maybe you can talk to us about what multilateral financial institutions, what kind of role they have to play.
So based on my knowledge and experience in the past, when it comes to financing by multilateral development finance institutions, they operate differently from what commercial banks do, to the extent that maybe, let's say we have a government that needs financing. So that's a client country that goes seeking money from a development finance institution. For example, maybe the African Development Bank. So we have a sovereign operation and non-sovereign operation. So for sovereign operation, that means that the client is a country, it's a government that is actually being given this money. And of course, once this sovereign loan has been given to the country, there are specific parameters and requirements that the country must abide to, so that also to ensure that these resources are used efficiently, whether it's an infrastructure project. There are specific criteria that have to be met on the side of the borrower and the lender as far as sovereign financing is concerned. On the other side, we also have non-sovereign financing, where now, of course, the client is not a sovereign, which is a country, but any other private entity seeking financing.
Of course, it is important for any economy in the world to have financial regulations. Maybe you can talk to us about the importance of having financial regulations, and even for not only private entities, even for commercial banks, to allow them to efficiently render their services to their member countries.
When it comes to financial regulation, especially from my background is international financial law and regulation, basically you know that laws are put in place to regulate behavior. So for financial systems, or rather for our financial system to work, we need rules and regulations in place to ensure that we have a safe and sound financial system. Because remember, the financial system is serving businesses, their consumers, and and also our entire economy as well. So regulation comes in to ensure that these financial institutions are able to, of course, to abide to the set rules, thereby, of course, protecting the consumers in the process. But also the other aspect of regulating financial institutions is what we call enforcement. So to the extent that if financial institutions are involved in any sort of action or act that is that goes against the set rules and regulation, then enforcement comes in. And this is where now we may have penalties being brought against financial institutions for not following set regulations. But in a nutshell, you're just trying to protect the consumers, you're trying to protect the businesses, and you're also trying to ensure that we have a safe and sound financial system working within an economy.
Even as we round up, Rogers, is it important now for member countries, or with regards now to Kenya being a big beneficiary of the African Development Bank? Of course, there are those challenges maybe that have hindered Kenya from receiving some kind of grants or receiving some kind of donor funding. Are there certain aspects that we can expect to see from the summit that are supposed to address those kinds of issues?
Well, I may not necessarily have the details to that, but I would say that when it comes to member countries of multilateral development banks, based on my knowledge and in my own opinion, these banks have member countries. And we have they have member countries that are regional within the African continent. and they have non-regional member countries. So for an example of a bank like the African Development Bank, it has 81 member countries. And each of these member countries, of course, receive the support they need from the bank because based on the publicly available information, the bank its objective is really to ensure that there is sustainable economic development within its member countries. And this is achieved through financing. These projects, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's agriculture, whether you're talking about energy. So the overall objective, and again, based on information as far as the African Development Bank is concerned, and this information, again, like I said, it's public knowledge. The overall purpose there is to support these countries.
Well, that is our report on Dutamo Kami, where the Africa Development Bank Group is holding its 2024 annual meetings at the Kenyatta International Conference Center. They kicked off Monday and they will come to an end on 31st May. Up to 3,000 delegates, including ministers, central bank governors, members of the development community, private sector and other stakeholders are in attendance. Now, we shall be keeping you updated in our subsequent bulletins. For now, we move on. Kenya is looking to collaborate with neighboring countries to address climate change effects that are adversely affecting people, especially those living in arid and semi-arid areas. Ourselves and Regional Development Principal Secretary Kelo Harsama says the government is focusing on building resilience of communities living in ASAL areas, as well as promotion of livestock value chain and marketing. Let's have a look.
Building resilience in the IGAD region demands robust partnerships and sustained investment. By engaging diverse stakeholders, securing long-term funding, and enhancing collaboration among member states and development partners, we can foster a resilient and sustainable future.
During the last drought, Kenya lost over 2.5 million livestock, hence adversely affecting pastoral livelihoods. Consequently, the ministry, in collaboration with county governments and partners, has put in place strategies and measures to transform the livestock sector through market development, range management, and feedlot development.
Kenya has secured 27 billion shillings from European Union, French Development Agency and European Investment Bank to connect 280,000 households to electricity under the Last Mile Connectivity Project. President William Ruto says the funds will strengthen the government's ambitious plan of achieving universal access to electricity by 2030. President Ruto said the power lines erected under this program will also transmit fiber optic cables, ensuring universal internet access.
In the beginning, this vision was not just seen as bold and ambitious. It was also considered to be too audacious to be possible.
The cost of entry to the power system in Kenya was so prohibitive that nobody was able to get into the power system because they needed to have a one-off connection fee of 75,000. And it was just impossible to move 20,000 customers to the grid.
And that is when we decided to invert the payments. We said, let us connect everybody who is near a grid. Let us connect everybody who is near a transformer. And then let us amortize the payment we would have wanted from them over 3 to 5 years. And it has become magic. We have moved from 2.3 million people connected in 2013 to now 24.
By supporting the implementation of this project, AFD, alongside his partner like EIB, are very happy to contribute to the development of the Kenya's infrastructure required to foster economic growth and contribute positively to the sustainable development goals by bridging the gap and reducing disparities between rural and urban areas.
By extending electricity grid to rural and underserved areas, the Last Mile Connectivity Project is not only effectively bridging the development gap between urban and rural communities, but it has also effectively raised the overall rate of national productivity across sectors by facilitating the uptake of efficient technologies.
To achieve the goal of universal and sustainable electricity access, the necessary investments are very high and not always commercially attractive for the private sector. This is why the European Union is supporting this connectivity program with a major grant of 4.3 billion Kenyans and make the project sustainable.
As part of our bottom-up economic transformation program, that you don't have to live in a posh estate to have electricity. Electricity must be an equalizer that equalizes all Kenyans, irrespective of their social status, irrespective of their financial capacity, and that is what this program is going to do. The Last Mile Connectivity Project is also news to the hustler economy, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, which is the engine of our economy, benefits immensely from reliable power, enabling them to operate efficiently and by expanding their reach, capability, and output.
And now we move on to sports news, where the Kenya national rugby sevens team Shujaa will be back in action this weekend in the HSBC Challenger Series Grand Final in Madrid, with their side set on the championship trophy. Shujaa qualified for the HSBC Challenger Series playoffs after finishing second in the final standings. Shujaa, who are already in Madrid for the series, will carry the hopes of the nation against 7 other teams who will be all out to win the championship and regain their place in the HSBC Sevens. They will open their campaign in the men playoff tournament this Friday evening against Samoa, whom they have never beaten since 2019 before playing Spain at night. Shujaa will face Chile in their final pool game of the playoffs on Saturday, where they are expected to advance to the knockout phase. Moving on, the Kenya Football Fans Federation has put in place plans to ferry Harambee Stars fans to Malawi for the national soccer team World Cup qualification matches against Burundi and Ivory Coast. KEFOFA CEO Shem Okata called on various stakeholders in the country to come on board and support the initiative as they target to give Harambee Stars the support they need during their world qualification journey. KEFOFA will offer 5 buses which will ferry fans to Lilongwe, Malawi. The buses are expected to depart on 4th June ahead of the qualifiers.
First, I will urge anyone who has not joined, please go to our website www.kefofa.co.ke, or you get our contacts as we live here, so that we enroll you to be our fans. Payment at the moment, you buy a T-shirt from us at only 3,000 Kenya shillings, and that will guarantee you to join as members.
Moiguto FC defeated Water FC 5-3 via post-match penalties to win the inaugural Michelle Masai soccer tournament at Moiguto Baringo North. After the two sides failed to breach each other's defense after full-time penalties were used to decide the winner, with the hosts emerging victorious over 6 teams enlisted for the tourney, including Kabilani FC, Terenin FC, Bartabor FC, Barbarchun FC, Kip Karen FC and Terik FC. The tournament organizers use the championship to encourage the youth to take up business ventures as well as pursue education so as to progress in life.
Players mtakuwa mnapata hata school fees, tunaendelea pole pole. That is now empowerment. Kitu ya kwanza mheshimiwa, nataka kuzingatia two things very fast. Vijana tuache pombe. Yes. Ndio. Vijana tumalize shule. Ndio. Number 3, vijana tupendane na tukue na amani.
Boston Celtic have advanced to the NBA Finals after overcoming Indiana Pacers 105-102 in the Eastern Conference semifinal series to complete a clean sweep.
Spins and scores. The Celtics will face the Western Conference winner, where the Dallas.
Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you so much for choosing Lunchtime News. Our sign language interpreter is Brian Muraro. My name is Jackie Wambiru. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Mizimu imesema atakayekuwa kiongozi ni yule pete itamchagua.
Bahari imechafuka. Mrithi wangu ni yule atakayeniletea vuo la kuoga.
Sasa na hili vuo wachana nalo, wakati wake umepita.
Pete hii ni ishara ya utawala.
Huu uongozi tusimwachie Jasiri.
Kwa nini uongozi usimwende Jasiri? Na wauliza nyinyi, Jasiri ana nini?
Kiva, hakuna atakayekusumbua.
You don't call anymore, 'cause I'm still thinking about you. Have you found somebody new? Strong like Mount Zion, so Babylon can never get me down.
t-shirt ya white, mkono moja mbele, ingine iende rembe, paila. Woo! Zungusha kiuna alafu wacha iende, zungusha mblena alafu wacha kaende. Yo man, wagwan! Welcome to the biggest, the baddest entertainment show in the 254, man. You already know, this is Grapevine, man, yeah. Now tonight, we are kicking off the show straight. Lazima tuongele watu wa Rongai, man. My town, my home away from home. Rongai 1 to 5, manze. You know, the Lion of Judah imekuwa ikistroll sana Rongai. As early as, 10 p.m. Eish! Kuna ingine ilionekana manze ikidisappear na, a black dog. And we are wondering, manze, at 10 p.m. is too early. Yeah? Imagine yani umetoka tu nje hivi kidogo, umeenda ku say good night to your beautiful girlfriend, yeah? Ama umetoka tu, maziara zako manze unaenda home alafu unakutana na Lion of Judah. How about that? Ama wale wase wenye upiganga watu nyongolo, alafu unapatana na Lion of Judah, man, yeah? It's not funny. This is something that, the KWS officers need to address, manze. It's a polite plea. Make sure you take care of, our people from Rongai. Wameogopa sana. Away from that, man, I got a big show lined up for you. And tonight's episode is a star-started. My name is Jack Muller, the party daddy. And this is Grapevine.
What you gotta do?
Yo, wagwan, we are kicking off the show, from the Paradise Gardens, where this month's edition of the Folk Fusion went down. Now, we had the likes of Okello Mark, Sero, among other artists. Let's check it out.
Silicone on your mama, shaking what you love together. On your experience, Susanna Van
The monthly musical festival was on again, held in an amazingly beautiful and spacious setting of the Paradise Gardens. Folk Fusion has always been about one word. As always, lovers of this event turn up every month and pile into the venue to catch a glimpse of their favorite artists. Folk Fusion provides an opportunity for artists of different genres to come together in one spot, showcase, promote, and sell their art. The day began with a DJ set of DJ Mura and Ali Fresh. Shad Music was the first feature of the May edition. Up next was We Are Nubia. They have become a formidable force in the R&B genre because of their silky tunes and soulful vocals. Kenyan Afrofusion singer and songwriter Sero was up next.
Mambo mengi yanabadilika, nabaki nimechanganyikiwa, mawazo hayawezi tulia, mipango yangu nimepangua, sielewi yanayofanyika.
Sero is continuously building a name for herself as one of Kenya's top live performers. Afro Soul, Afro Pop visionary duo Yuaya Tajiri and Israel Onyach were also present on this day and on stage. Their performances resonate as dynamic cultural narratives, inviting audiences to groove to the heartbeat of Kenya's rich musical heritage. The last act on stage was Okello Marx. The self-styled singer-songwriter and entertainer delivered as expected. Indeed, what is life if you haven't partied all night in the rain and chilly weather, made friends and lived as though each moment was your last?
So I will ask for your permission. Do you have any condition? Your king is an ambition.
That was a good event, man. The fact that kulinyesha vibaya sana, sherehe iliendelea kuendelea. Away from that, Bobby V, an American singer-songwriter, was in the country. And as usual, I keep on telling you this, man, we got you covered. Now, we caught up with him during his presser at the Holiday Inn in Two Rivers. Let's check it out.
Popular American singer Bobby V, formerly known as Bobby Valentino, was in the 254 over the week for the We Love R&B concert. The inaugural concert took place at the Dome Nairobi Showgrounds. Bobby V, whose real name is Bobby Marcel Wilson, made a significant impact on the 2000s R&B scene after embarking on his musical journey as a member of the R&B group Mr. in 1994. This was his second performance in the country following his maiden appearance back in August 2018.
Very appreciative of the opportunities. I travel all the time, do shows all the time, but I never take anything for granted. And to be able to come to the motherland, this is, the alpha of all creations. I think black folks, we are the beginning of all races of people. So to be able to come here for the second time in my life, me doing music, I never thought in my life that I would be able to travel all around the world.
Bobby recently collaborated with Kenya's own King Kanja on a joint EP titled Foreign Exchange, featuring tracks like this.
Before I get to texting you, and usually I'm not that type, but I really wanna come through. Girl, I got some things in mind that I wanna.
Sometimes you meet people and y'all just kind of click, and that's what happened with me and Country. I meet a lot of people, but you kind of click with certain people, and it's funny how things have just come full circle, and I've just really taken him as a homeboy, just on the road with me. We traveled all over the whole world.
I've been in the music industry for a long time, so I've been able to experience everything, become one of the voices, representing Kenya and the diaspora, and there's big investments being made to improve film, TV, and the whole entertainment industry as a whole in Kenya, and that's all about bringing like the knowledge, you know, from management to licensing, you know, to, you know, just handling your publishing and knowing how to monetize, you know, your music, you know, and kind of like improving this music industry to be able to compete with the rest of the world.
Hit me up, babe. I wanna hear from you. Now my phone is ringing all the time. Yeah, I know I really put it down. Girl, you know you're such a vibe. I wanna show you out all around town.
Some of the best talent is right here in Kenya, you know. Right now, the only recognition I've seen, and I'm also a voting member for the LA, you know, chapter of the Grammys, and Melinda's also, you know, with the Atlanta chapter, if I'm right. And, you know, we select music, and Kenya has some of the best music. Right now, Nigeria and South Africa are the only countries that are getting that highlight. So I think it's time for Kenya to kind of get into that space. You know, and big shout out Bobby V, you know, like, there's not a lot of people that you meet, and they're just open. Like, he's a very down-to-earth person who just will extend, you know, and then now he doesn't have to do that, but he does, you know.
I want to just leave a lasting impression as every time I do a show. I just want to leave it all out on stage so that people can really just know that Bobby V is the real king of R&B.
Yo, man, that was a dope link up with Bobby V. Hope you enjoyed your Kenyan tour, man. Before you take a break, I just want to ask you something. What is your take on KFCB regulating, you know, creatives' content on the YouTube? What do you think about it? See you after the break.
What you gotta do?
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani. Kile wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
What you gotta do?
Welcome back to the biggest, the baddest entertainment show in the 254. You already know this is Grapevine. Remember to interact with us on our social media handles at Jack Mula, at KBC. Also, our hashtag is Grapevine on KBC Channel 1. Now, we are heading straight to the Alliance Francaise, where Gaia, Mwonja, and Le Boy had an amazing performance. Let's check it out.
You will agree that it is on rare occasions that you get to encounter three songbirds sharing the same stage in a local concert. Well, that is what happened over the weekend with Gaia, Le Boy and Muhonja, who pulled their fans to the Alliance Francaise. Those in the know will tell you that Muhonja is like good wine, getting better by the day. Throw anything her way and trust her to make the best out of the situation.
So amazing how this world was made. I wonder if God is a woman. The gift of life astounds me to this day. I gave it up for Muhonja. I'm a baby girl.
When she is not displaying her vocal prowess, it is her agility that glares, and therein lies the true marks of a diva.
Hello, mama. Hello, papa. Hello, child of Africa. Do you know your name? Do you know your place? Do you know your voice, my child? Do you know your power?
Next on stage was Gaia LC from the Reunion Island. First, she took the crowd into the less familiar tracks before giving her fans the best of her music. Her compositions delicately explore themes that are dear to her, such as Creole culture, love, spirituality, nature, self-affirmation, and gratitude. The two artists indeed pulled together to give a taste of what unity amongst women can achieve.
Wow, that was such a show from the beautiful ladies. Now, watch tumalize show with our spotlight artist tonight, Yemi Alade. Yemi Alade is set to drop her brand new album this year, dubbed Rebel Queen. Let's check it out.
Global Afropop superstar Yemi Alade has released a new single, Tomorrow, a lead-up to her upcoming 10th body of work titled Rebel Queen, set to be released this year. Rebel Queen album represents Yemi Alade's originality, bold spirit for African Cup of Nations. Yemi Alade is now set to headline her solo show in Paris, France on the 21st of September